So this is just going to be a video to help people prepare to download the client and pre-download most of the files. Come Friday, the server is opening account creation again, so everyone can join. It can take upwards of like 60 hours to download the client, depending on where you're from and your routing to reach the server for the patcher. If you don't want to wait that long, you can cut that time dramatically by just downloading the Steam version. And I have a little image here. Download the Steam version, open up the patch folder, and delete every patch after this one. Technically, you can delete all the patches, but obviously you want to keep the patches that you're just going to re-download through the patcher. Everything after this patch, delete it, and then the patcher won't have to download any of the data files, it won't have to download the BMGs, like, most of what you need to play is already there. We run identical to the Steam version. Again, with every patch after this point customized for the server itself. There's a few things to note. The patch tool will be released soon, I believe, on all of the different forums that the server's being promoted on. The location you run it from can be iffy for some users. Something to do with Windows 11 and some builds of older Windows not liking the patcher trying to access the user folder, and the desktop is in your user folder, so if you put the game on your desktop, anywhere patched through your desktop, it might not patch. It should, but like, there's no reason it shouldn't, other than Windows being a piece of shit when you're dealing with, anything past Windows 7, honestly. So if you're running Windows 11, then you're going to want to put it in the programs folder, put it anywhere you're comfortable with that is not patched through the user folder. Also, run the patcher as admin. It has to edit files. If you don't have that set up for your user profile, it will not be able to do that. So, run it sandboxed if you're worried about it. It's totally fine and legit. Like, I personally don't use it because I have the latest patches even beyond what the patcher will download, so it would break my files. It would download inferior patches, so I have a different launcher that we use for testing, but I have used it before. It works. It's a little slow for me. For some people, it'll download the whole game in like 30 minutes. For other people, again, 60 hours. We don't have any control over that. That's just, it depends on where you get routed through and how fast those servers are and what they throttle downloads at. So again, you'll want to start the patcher soon after you finish the Steam download, just to make sure it has the latest files. You will still have to download a patch before you're able to actually log in come Friday, but that patch is going to be relatively small. It's going to be a re-release of a separate patch that will just update some of the databases so that you'll see the correct information on items. So pretty straightforward. Again, delete everything after the highlighted patch. Keep the highlighted patch. Again, it doesn't matter if you deleted it. It'll take a nanosecond to download no matter where you're from. It's a tiny patch. But everything past this patch, make sure you order it obviously numerically so that the older patches are beneath it. But other than that, yeah, you'll be good. Ignore that there's some patches here that are newer. That's just because these have been edited for my client alone, to modify some of the stuff that's in them, removing some effects and whatnot, because they didn't get along well with my particular computer. You will get this patch as well, and yeah, it says it's been modified sooner, but it's still just the old patch other than that. There is another thing to note, and unfortunately, I don't think anyone in the team knows the solution to this. If someone else knows the solution, share it in the Discord, share it on one of the sites, like, share it somewhere. But AMD processors in this version of the game have a lot of issues, and there was some solution that people had that they ran it with a different driver to bypass the actual AMD driver. So like, they didn't actually use their AMD I forget what it was. Like, I only saw it in passing. I don't have an AMD system, so I don't have to worry about this, but it'll cause the visuals in the game to not show up correctly. Your character won't turn their head correctly. The menus will have buttons missing, but then if you click where the button should be, it'll still work correctly and pop up the visuals after you level up your skills is one of the issues. Hopefully we can find the fix for that. It was an old fix that was relatively known, and again, it was just lost in the last Discord, you know, it's IMC being a piece of shit. So if that affects you, then again, ask around the community. There's still people that are running AMD who have the files and know how to use them. So hopefully you can find someone who will share those with you. Other than that, like I got nothing I can offer. It's just kind of a shitty situation for AMD users right now. We will eventually track down those files. Someone in the original circle has them and will share them. Another thing is, in the current version, you will not see damage numbers. I'm just going to swap over and show that real quick so you know what to expect. But also, just this is what the gems look like right now. If you didn't see the post, if it has a number next to it, if it has a value assigned to it, it will stack. You can stack the gem with itself, you can stack it with anything else that gives the same effect. If it does not have a number, it's a one and done skill. Risk Taker makes it so that you take more damage when you're hit, but you deal more damage in general. You can't just keep infinitely stacking that. It is a one-time multiplier. So be mindful of that. And some of them are still missing their actual tooltip information. The gem itself has its information, but the location it's equipped is still missing because I haven't input it on my client yet. But in terms of damage, there was an add-on that Mike had made, Mike's damage numbers, and again, we'll eventually find a copy of it and re-upload it, but it brought back the damage numbers in a way that was less intensive. The way that basically all of these old games handle damage numbers is just stupid. It cuts and edits a chunk of just an image, cuts and edits an image to stretch and skew all of the numbers into the right order to show the number above the enemy's head, and it takes a lot of resources to do that. If you've ever played MapleStory, you know that when you start getting, if you don't have a scientific notation damage skin, like, you get massive lag just from all the rows of damage numbers. Even on new PCs, it takes a lot to edit images that way. So our solution is that if you can see those tiny yellow numbers that pop up for a half second, we just hijacked the chat system, and those show you the damage you do, and it still tells you the grade of crit you did, and all the other information. It gets a little bit clunky with how much information it picks, but if you really want to see your damage numbers, then that's how you can do it. Like, again, 633. Like, I can see it, but like when you start getting criticals and stuff, and steal success chance and all that, like, they just get lost in the mess. But performance-wise, it is a massive performance boost. There used to be like full client lockup whenever you did any attack that had a lot of hits and you were doing it into like a linked pack of mobs and all of that. This solves that completely. Another thing I would recommend is, I don't have it turned off, but there's see dead parts in here somewhere. Apply dead parts, apparently. Turn that off, and it'll dramatically improve your performance. You won't see the body parts flying all over when you kill enemies. Like, that's the only thing it changes. They just disappear instead. But I play with it on because it's just nostalgic for me. But yeah, when you start killing big packs of enemies with very rapid hitting skills so that they spawn a ton of death parts, it does even lag up my system a little bit, and my system's pretty solid. So be aware of that. You probably want to turn that off. You can leave it on most of the time, but later on, end game, you're going to want to turn it off just for performance. But other than that, that should do it. Relatively short video. The only important stuff is all in the first half of the video if you want to pre-download it and get ready to go. Hopefully, I'll be able to see you all in game Friday unless something unexpected happens. Account creation will begin most likely Friday evening. If you haven't joined any of the Discords for account creation, we use a different one for each site just to spread things out in case IMC decides to be a pain in the ass again and try to take down our Discords. They can take down one of our registered Discords. And just go and check for a different one. But until then, later.